I'm Tony.
And I'm Tim.
Thank you for joining us once again, of course, on the show. And of course, we had a lot of football happening in the midweek Champions League. Most of the teams now confirming their qualification to the next round. There, Arsenal dominating in their group, beating that team there 6 goals to 0. Of course, Lens, they had beaten them earlier when they went to France. Arsenal confirming finally that they are topping that group. Of course, we saw Manchester City as well coming from behind against RB Leipzig. A big game for them, beating Leipzig 3 goals to 2 from behind. For Manchester United, things are starting to look very bleak right now after that scintillating 3-3 draw away from home.
Yeah, very bleak because they needed to win that game, which they didn't win. So it's now looking unlikely hosting Bayern the final game week. Maybe it will favor Man United because they don't want to, they want first to clean the house. And I think getting out of Europe and staying home could be the best for them.
Can they still push for third at least and drop down to the Europa League? Is it a better option?
Well, a Man United side is expected to compete in all fronts. They will want to go because of the revenues. But for me, I think maybe it's better off to be out of all the European action.
Very interesting there. Of course, Manchester now sitting on 4 points at the bottom of their table. They are interesting, sitting behind Copenhagen and Galatasaray in that particular table. And of course, Newcastle, the other Premier League representative, getting a very last-minute heartbreak. That penalty that was given to PSG, that game ending 1-1. So it means they're still open as well in their group. Dortmund have almost confirmed their position with 10 points. So it's up to now Newcastle, PSG, and AC Milan to see if they can still fight for those points there in the final game. And of course, in the Europa League, Liverpool and Brighton as well, showing that they can still qualify there. Liverpool having a big game. West Ham qualified as well in the Conference League. So big games there for the European, for the English teams. Very interestingly, we turn our attention back to the Premier League. Of course, we won't have an early kickoff this time round. All games will be starting at 6, culminating in an 11 o'clock kickoff. Arsenal start the day against Wolves at the top of the table. After that 6-0 win against Lens in midweek, how do you feel about this Arsenal squad team?
I think it's a party atmosphere already for Arsenal. The way they play at home, it seems they're enjoying the fans come in big numbers and also enjoying what the players are giving them. So welcoming Wolves, I think these are starting to look like assured points for us now.
Very interesting. Of course, Wolves coming into this particular side after that Monday night heartbreak as well. A very big game that was very fastly competed for. They have an informed player in He Chan. I've been talking about this guy. I think he's a very brilliant player. He has not started the season particularly well, the same Chan that we knew from last season. But he's a player that can give you the goods on a very good night, even away from home.
Yeah, Tony, because when we talk about Wolves, we usually talk about Neto. But ever since Neto got injured, it's Chan who is bringing the goods. He's the one winning the penalties, getting the goals. And on a good day, he can hurt us now. Maybe he can get a goal or so, but it's going to be a huge one for them.
When you look at this Arsenal side, now they look like they're starting to click into gear. And of course, they were favored last week with that draw at Manchester City and Liverpool. So it meant that perhaps now they can take charge at the top of the table. They must continue getting those points on board. They host a Wolves side without any big injuries right now. Arsenal, they seem to be clicking into gear. Odegaard came back from injury and he seems to have kicked on from where he stopped. Saka, who has been struggling a bit, still getting the goods.
Looked lively in the Champions League.
Looked lively in the Champions League. Martinelli looked lively in the Champions League, which is something that Arsenal fans will be happy to see. Gabriel Jesus, almost everyone in front there. Kai Havertz, the player who has been the scapegoat for almost the past 20 games of the season, now starts also looking like he can finally give something to the fans. Arteta will be pleased with what he's seeing.
Yeah, Arteta is spoiled with choice now. I think all the Arsenal players are firing. And he has to just default into his best team because now the best team is available. And for me, he has to play that because you have to look at Liverpool, Man City. You have got the chance to go on top. Just keep being there and the pressure will mount on the followers.
Very interesting. Of course, that game will be kicking off at 6 p.m. Where do you see Wolves having any chance away from He Chan?
I think Neto has been training. He he was likely to play on Monday night. He did not make it. Maybe he can have a few minutes there. If he plays, he can disturb Arsenal. Chan is the player we've talked about.
Matthias Cunha, can he have the same?
Yeah, Cunha is always a busy striker, but he's not one who finishes them chances. So they will have some attacks because Gary O'Neilton is a coach who always wants to try and give a go for his team, but Emirates has become a fortress.
Prediction?
3-1 Arsenal.
Big one, of course. I think Arsenal can win it. I've gone for 2-0 myself in this particular fixture. 6 p.m. that game will be kicking off. Of course, at the Emirates, East African time, you cannot afford to miss it. Arsenal trying to continue their march towards the, towards the Premier League. Maybe this is the season. Arsenal fans will be glad to hear that coming from us. Goodbye. We'll be back with the other games after this.